These are a couple of strategies that are going to be powerful. We in our when we do our 2-day retreat, we spend a lot of time on the strategies, and we actually have people work and finish some of their assignments together. We do it together so that they are like a third quarter or a third of the way done with their book or their course by the time they even leave our 2-day event. Okay, but here obviously we have an hour, so I'm just going to tell you a couple of the strategies that I teach them that are some of the most powerful. Number one, when you know the result, right? You know the result because we did that yesterday. Today, you are going to create the outline. And this is how you create the outline. You start with the result. Start with the result. That's why I made such a big deal about that yesterday. So if my result is by the time you are done, you will know how to create a funnel that converts, that actually you get sales. Okay? If that's what I'm selling, that's one of the things that I teach people, how to do a funnel that actually converts. And I've spent a lot of money and a lot of coaching sessions learning from a lot of really good people to know the tactics, the strategies, the principles, and the essence. And I have to perfect it all the time. Why do you think, like I have some coaches that I pay $50,000 a year. And guess what? When the year's over, I've learned all the stuff that they taught me. And I've been able to see all their videos, all their stuff. But guess what? I'm going to renew. And guess why I do that? Because they're constantly learning. And if they are at a level farther ahead than me in an area that I want to get better at, then I am going to hire my coach. That's what I'm going to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with the result and then 2 strategies. Number 1, once you know the result, you're going to work backwards. Well, no, you're not going to work backwards. You're going to know the result. And now you're going to come back and start from the beginning, looking toward the result. And at the beginning, you're going to say, okay, what exact steps does my client have to go through in order to get that result by the end? If they're reading my book, this is the result they're going to have by the end of my book. What are the exact steps they have to go through in order to have that result by the end? If I'm working on, let's say I'm doing, I'll use mental challenges just because that's an easier one to give you an example with. If I'm doing mental challenges, number 1, you got to be careful not to just call it mental challenges. You're not coming from a place where they're thinking. People don't sit there and think, I have mental challenges, I probably need help because I'm mental. That's not what people are thinking. You have to realize you're working with a whole group of people. You've got people who grew up in an age where you talk about mental challenges and that meant you were crazy and maybe you need to go into an asylum. You're dealing with that. Today that might not be politically correct, but who cares about politically correct? When you're trying to think about who you're trying to speak to, politically correct doesn't matter. Beliefs don't matter. Religious beliefs don't matter. None of that matters. What matters is that you're talking to them. What matters is what they think, what their beliefs are, the way they see the world. And if to them mental challenges means that I'm crazy, that may not be true. But if that's what they think, none of that, it doesn't matter. We got to approach it from where they're coming from. Okay? So what you're going to do if you're doing mental challenges, you know the result. By the time we're done with this, you will be able to identify which challenges you're dealing with. And you will know what steps, you'll know what steps to take care of it. You may not know how to do it yet, but it depends. It depends on what you're selling. Let's say I'm selling that by the time you're done, you'll be able to identify exactly what you are dealing with. Or you'll be able to identify exactly what the person, your loved one, is dealing with. Like, are they PTSD? Are they narcissistic? Are they whatever? You'll be able to identify by the time we're done. And in order for you to be able to identify that, what are the exact steps I have to take them through in order that they will have that result? So the way I want you to think about it is like this. How many of you in your school growing up had to write down the instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? A lot of people have done that. I did that in grade school. And guess what? Mine didn't work. All of my instructions were exactly right, and I'm very meticulous, but mine didn't work after step 2 because I didn't say, take the lid off the top of the peanut butter. And you could only, and the teacher said, you have to do it exact. I will only do exactly what is written. So pick up the knife, take the lid off the peanut butter, stick the knife in the peanut butter and grab whatever. I didn't say take the lid off the peanut butter. You can't get farther if you don't do that. So as you think of your steps, I want you to start with at least 3. As you are thinking of the steps to your peanut butter sandwich, what I want you to do is make sure you don't leave a step out. So you might go, well, Teresa, you said 3 steps, but mine requires 5. Fine. Put 5 steps in. You said, well, say you said 3, but mine actually only requires 2 steps. Okay, well then do 2. Just do 2. And I'll give you an example. I kept bringing up the example of the book that's called The One Thing. His is about the one thing. So guess what? His result is about the one thing. So you know that one thing by the time you're done. But what are the steps to get to the one thing? So now you're going to outline the steps. So you might think, okay, well, in his book, then what does he do? Because he outlines the steps to get to the one thing, and there's only one step. Well, guess what? Now you're going to take it a level deeper. So, for example, if I say I'm going to help you, you're going to be able to identify what mental challenges you're dealing with, and one of them might be limiting beliefs. So, what I'm going to have to do, the steps is they have to understand what are mental challenges. So that's step 1. Step 2. So imagine if this is in your book or if this is in your course. These are the chapters. These are the modules. Okay, so first they have to know what it is. They have to understand what it is. Second, they have to understand the different types of mental challenges that someone's dealing with. Third, they might need to understand which ones are serious and which ones are not, which ones require additional help like therapy or whatever. And the fourth one might be a conclusion or, now what do I do about it? That kind of thing, okay? And the end of your book might be what to do about it. Well, guess what? The next step that you need after you figured out this result, because I'm giving you this result. Now they know they get results from you. The next thing they might need, because they can't learn everything from one book. Now the next thing they need is your course. The next thing they need is your class or your next book or whatever it is, right? So that's how you're going to do that. Now, so you've got your original result, you've got your title, and we're going to talk about titles more another time, but now you've got the steps to your peanut butter sandwich. Well, now what you're going to do is you're going to take each of those individual steps and break it down even further. And do the exact same thing over again with each of the steps. So, for example, I said I could teach it in 5 minutes. I lied. It takes me 10 minutes. So, and I'm almost done, you guys. So, what you're going to do is and I'm going to teach you one more strategy real quick. That takes, I think, 1 minute. I don't want to lie again. Okay, so now, let's say my book on mental challenges or my course on mental challenges, by the time they're done, they're going to be able to identify what they're dealing with. So my first one was, what are mental challenges? So now take that one topic and break that down into steps like a peanut butter sandwich. So you're going to say, okay, what's my result for this chapter of the book? What is my result for this module of the course? If by the time you are done with this module, you will understand what mental challenges are. And you'll understand if this is or this isn't. You will know this. That's my promise. Now that I know the result, what are the steps I have to take them through to get that result by the end of this chapter? And once I know those steps, it might be 2 things, it might be 3 things, it might be 6 things. Those are the little segments of my chapter.